Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and today we've got another sponsored video by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative and curious people alike. I have a link down below, and the first 1,000 people that click on that link can receive a free trial membership. Membership is less than $10 for the annual subscription, less than $10 a month if you do the annual subscription. But I do have the free trial, which is linked down below. So I've talked about them quite a bit, and yeah, I have something a little bit different to share with you today of one of their classes. I kind of went a little bit of different route, and it's something I think that hopefully you guys are gonna find just as inspiring as I did. Okay, so here we are, like in the middle of October, and I know that a lot of people, I've seen a lot of like more inspirational type people, you know, that do like a lot of like inspiring life Instagram accounts, that kind of thing. Do a lot of like, you know, let's finish off the year just as strong as a lot of times we start the year. So instead of doing like a New Year's resolution, or like it's fine to do a New Year's resolution, but let's also like finish off the year strong type mentality, which I love. I love, you know, that whole feeling of not just giving up and like, you know, letting yourself just go, or getting caught up in the melee. The other thing, this is my favorite time of year. I absolutely love the fall, and I love the fall even as it goes into the holiday season. It's my absolute favorite time of year. But I often find, because of, you know, my kids, well, my son is involved in a very heavily fall sport. It's also in the spring, but soccer. And then my daughter has things that go on. You know, there's a ton of like concerts up at the school. My daughter plays golf, which is a fall sport as well. It just, the fall can very easily get away from me. And I also feel like that a lot of times I'm on this busy train, that all of a sudden it's Christmas and I don't feel like, you know, I feel like I've missed the whole season. You know, this is my favorite time of year and I've missed all of that. So as we're in this weird 2020 time, and you know, we're starting to hunker down a little bit as things start to cool down just a little bit, I felt myself really wanting to focus on slowing down, or at least appreciating each day and finding beauty in each day and just enjoying the entire season from the fall as we go into the end of the year. And I know I'm not alone in that. But as I was going through some of the Skillshare, so Skillshare has a ton of classes that aren't just, they do have like some sewing classes, some knitting classes, beautiful embroidery classes, wonderful fine art classes, but they also have a lot of things that are more, you know, how to be more productive, how to, well, this one class that I took is The Perfect 100-Day Project, Your Guide to Explosive Creative Growth by Rich Armstrong is the class that I'm going off of here. But and I'll leave a link to that class down below. It was really good. And it was something that maybe I've kind of heard about or seen like on Instagram, but it was a movement started by I can't remember his name. I'll put it down here. This man. And then it was taken online by this woman. I'll leave her name. I just can't remember the names off the top of my head. Basically just kind of for any time of year. And I think that they even have like set dates where you can actually get involved. But it's the idea of doing something, whatever that is for you, for 100 days. And it can be something small, it can be something big, just whatever you're wanting to work on, but very personal, a very personal journey, but to do it every day for 100 days. And this Rich Armstrong just really talks about tips, hints, ways to decide what you should do for a 100-day project. I think he's done a ton of them. He said he's had some successes, some failures. He's learned a lot throughout the entire process, and that really appealed to me. So I love having checklists, and I love having things to like mark off, but I also really wanted to just dig in and just really enjoy the season and find ways that I could really appreciate every single day, as opposed to just, especially as we're ending the year, 2020 has been awful for everybody. But instead of just rushing through, I hate rushing time because we have such little of it on this earth, that I really just wanted to enjoy and to savor the good things of 2020 as it rolls to an end. So obviously this 100 days is going to take me past Christmas and New Year's and into January, but I'm very excited about this. So his whole thing was your guide to the subtitle here is your guide to explosive creative growth, and that's what grabbed me because obviously I have a creative job and I love what I do and I love being inspired, but definitely when I get into seasons of busyness and stress, and I spoke quite a few times about my struggles where I get with anxiety, which then leads to depression, that I can definitely hit roadblocks with creativity, which is perfectly, I mean, that's normal. Like that is definitely part of like the cycle of life. However, I really wanted to, so I had a whole bunch of ideas. And he walks you through in this class all the different ways of coming up with ideas of what you could do for your 100-day project. And he even encourages you to do something silly, something wacky, do whatever you want. It does not have to be anything serious, just as a way to be a kid again, basically, of just having fun with whatever this project is, just to help, not only release creative potential, but maybe also hone some skills. Like there's a whole bunch of different benefits, I think, to doing anything for 100 days. So I had ideas of like, maybe knitting for a certain amount of time for 100 days, or, styling, coming up with a few different pieces, like basically putting together a couple of modules and then only wearing that for 100 days. So which, stretch my creativity and putting outfits together where I'd have to accessorize, or even doing something 100 days where I had to just, wear a certain, find accessories to go with my outfit, because I do get in a slump of just like throwing on clothes and not like putting scarves or jewelry or anything with it. Pushing myself outside of my, comfort zone with that. Even doing 100 days of, trying a different recipe every day or something for 100 days. But he does talk about in this class of keeping it simple. Like don't do something that's so big that you'll cannot easily do it for 100 straight days. So then you're just getting burnt out and having to stop. Especially if it's your first time to do one of these 100-day projects, like maybe do something a little bit smaller and in sizable chunks. Also, if you have a ton of ideas and you would love to do all of them, don't try and do multiple ones at once, because that can also become overwhelming, which I could totally see. So I was trying to, number one, keep things that would be small, something that I could definitely accomplish easily, because I want to do it the 100 days. I don't want to get burnt out or overwhelmed and not be able to accomplish that. But I also found that I was really being drawn. I actually did this very prayerfully as well. I've talked also about my faith on here before, but I wanted something where I could also be a creative process that would allow God to speak into my life as well. So almost a kind of a connection with Him in this process as well. So I wanted it to be something that didn't necessarily end in something functional. So obviously sewing is a creative endeavor, knitting is a creative endeavor, embroidery is a creative endeavor, but most of them, they have functionality behind them too. Well, embroidery is just pretty, but it goes on something, a lot of times, like you're wearing it, not always, but knitting, it's something that you're going to wear. Clothing, it's got functionality, it's something you're going to wear. So I wanted it to be something that is completely no function. Like there is no practical purpose for what I'm doing for 100 days. I wanted it to be, I felt that would help push my creativity, because there was no reason for it, really, other than beauty and joy and appreciating the moment. So, and I wanted it to be something simple. And I did want it to be something, though, that kind of pushed my boundaries a little bit and kind of would help me gain a skill as well, because I do want to be moving forward in life. I never want to stop learning. So I wanted it to be something that I was learning as I went, because I thought it would be really fun to follow my progression also from day 1 through to day 100. I'm also going to be documenting this all on Instagram. So if you don't already follow me, I have that all listed down in the description box below, but definitely make sure and follow me on Instagram, because I'm going to be, I think every day I'll be showing you what I have done. And then at the end of every 9 days or something, I'll put up a grid and kind of showcase. And then at the end, I'll show everything, obviously. But what I have decided to do, so my daughter has received God, I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. She got a subscription service for a watercolor painting box, basically, for her birthday. So she got 3 months worth of projects. I'll leave a link to what it is down below just because I can't remember off the top of my head. But it comes with enough for you to be, 3 projects are in each box, and it comes with all the paints. You have to provide your own brushes, and it's got all the paper and stuff, but it gives you 2 pieces of paper for each project. So that if you mess up. So I asked her, I'm like, well, can I do it with you since you've got 2? And she's like, sure, yeah. So I loved the idea. So we're going to do some of that over their fall break, which is, as you're watching this, they were on their fall break, to play around. But I've taken some watercolor classes before, and I really love watercolor as a medium. I'm not an artist, but it's also nothing that I've really ever taken the time to really explore and practice, because it's a muscle. Rich Armstrong talks about it in this class too, that creativity, just like anything else, is a muscle. So you've got to work it in order for it to perform and to grow. So I think that that's the other thing. I've never really flexed my artistic muscle other than taking a few night classes when my kids were little, just as a way to get out of the house. I took some watercolor classes with a couple of other moms in the evenings. The husband stayed home with the babies. They were also twin moms, just to give us a chance to do something for ourselves. And I loved that. So I kind of want to bring that back to this a little bit. And I've got some nice supplies, and I'm committing to, for 100 days, doing a little bit of watercolor. And when I say a little bit, nothing bigger than a postcard size. I'm going to go at some point to Michael's, and I think you can buy really small watercolor paper book, either pads or spiral bound, little notebooks, but it's watercolor paper, to where I just do something each day. And I don't even want to get into, it's going to be something that a picture from my walk or whatever, because I think I will definitely probably just, find easy to access images that it's really more about the painting and less about the drawing for right now, because it's still a skill that I'm still going to be developing. But yeah, I'm going to commit to doing 10 minutes of watercolor every day for 100 days. And I'm going to start on Monday. So you're watching this on Friday, and I'm going to start on Monday, and I'm just committing to doing 100 straight days of just doing 10 minutes of watercolor every day. Even if I don't finish a picture or whatever, a little piece in that 10 minutes. And some days I'll probably do over 10 minutes if I get kind of carried away, but I want to commit to doing at least 10 minutes a day. And I also want this to, I'll talk about that more in a second. So that is my goal. And I think that it's going to help me kind of flex a new creative muscle, a new something that I have not done a lot of, that I'm not already somewhat proficient at, because I'm going to be not complete beginner, but pretty much a complete beginner. And just watching that progress, see what I can learn. And also just I'm excited to see what kind of creativity opens up from doing something completely different than what I've done before. And it's also quite a bit different than making clothes, basically, whether that be knitting or sewing. So I'm very, very excited about what this is going to mean for the end of the year. And my hope is that it's going to, number one, replace time where I'm just scrolling through on my phone. We watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix. It is a documentary. If you have Netflix and you've not watched it yet, go watch it. It's so good. It's just about social media and what that's doing to our society without it being judgy. It's just facts. These are people that were in the industry, and how things kind of morphed the way they morphed and how they kind of got out of control a little bit. It's very interesting. But I know that, as I'm sure a lot of people, getting off social media, not completely, a lot of what I do, like YouTube, I'm on Instagram, that kind of thing, is part of what I do. And I find a ton of inspiration on social media as well. So I'm not wanting to get off social media, but I definitely want to cut down on the time sucks, when all of a sudden you realize you've been scrolling through Facebook for 20 minutes and you're like, for what? What have I been? I just watched an article, a movie or a video on kittens, what am I doing right now? So my hope is that this will take some of that time. So I'm filling that mindless time with something creative. So hopefully building muscle as opposed to atrophying it is my idea. Now, Skillshare also offers a ton of watercolor classes as well, and even some classes that go from watercolor to gouache, which is a little bit different medium. And my daughter describes it as kind of a mix between acrylics and watercolor a little bit, but it's similar. It's very similar to watercolor. So, you know, hopefully at the end of 100 days, you know, maybe I'll be interested in exploring a little bit more. Or maybe I'll decide, you know, watercolor's not really my thing and I'll want to do something else. Now, I still love all of my other ideas of, you know, more practical 100-day projects. So that's not to say that I won't do those at another time, you know, where I'm challenging myself to knit for so many minutes a day for 100 days. But yeah, but for right now, I am just feeling very pulled to do something completely different, something that has no purpose. You know, it's just painting. So it's literally just being a kid, you know, getting the crayons out, doing a little bit of coloring, and being absorbed in that. So if you guys are interested in that free trial that Skillshare is giving to the first 1,000 people that click the link, but the link is right at the bottom of the video. You don't even have to do the drop-down box. It's right there. Definitely go do the free trial. And again, it's less than $10 a month if you do the annual subscription. There's so many classes on there, and it's not all just like fine art, and that kind of thing. They have a ton of things on increasing your productivity, how to have a better schedule, how to have a better, you know, your life more organized. There's a ton of like life coach type classes that are on there too that are really, really interesting. And not only am I following this Rich Armstrong class on the 100-day project, which kind of broke things down very easily for me to understand, but I'm also going to be going back and I think checking out quite a few of their watercolor classes as well, just because it's something new that I want to explore. And it's something at night, you know, instead of just mindlessly watching TV, I love having classes like that on to watch to kind of turn my brain off, because it is kind of learning through osmosis a little bit without, you know, just being like a mindless sitcom. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I do like to, I want to fill my brain with good stuff as opposed to, especially all the negative that can be on television right now. Anytime, but especially right now. So yeah, so that is kind of my pledge and commitment. If anyone wants to join me and do a 100-day project of their own, let me know down below, and maybe we can do a hashtag like 100 days with Tomcat or something like that. But yeah, and I haven't even decided what hashtag I'm going to use for mine, but it'll be on my Instagram. And yes, it's going to be 100 days of watercolor, basically, which maybe that's just what I will call it. Watercolor with Tomcat, I don't know. But anyway, if anyone else is interested in doing a 100-day project, and it doesn't have to be the same, it can be the same, it can be something completely different, but if anyone else is interested in doing a challenge like that, where we can kind of cheer each other on and then celebrate real big at the end of the 100 days, let me know down below. And you don't have to start on day one with me. You can start, you know, a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever. But if we're kind of doing the process together, just to give each other some encouragement and accountability, let me know. I think that would be like a lot of fun and a great way to end the year with something positive. So yes, that is my PSA for today, and just kind of how I'm taking care of my mental health and my mental well-being as we are approaching the holiday season, which can be very trying for many. Yeah. Okay, so that's all I've got for today. Again, this was a sponsored video. I'm very apparent, and leave that all in the description box as well. The link again is down below if you guys are interested in that free trial. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. I will see you Sunday with a tutorial. We are in between sew-alongs right now. And then next week on Tuesday, we've got my one piece, which is my final piece of my work from home module sew-along. All right, I hope you guys have a good weekend and can get some sewing in, get some creative time, and I will see you next time. Bye.